everybody, and welcome to the Basement Boys podcast. I am Chris Gray. That is Eric Mincer. We don't have Dev here today. Daddy duty, you know how it goes. And we got Mike on the boards. So let's just jump into it, y'all. Let's get it going.
Are you gonna sit up? Cameras are on, dude. People are waiting for you to sit up.
All right. So here the thing is, apparently, I'm an old fucking man now. And just stretching causes me to throw out my fucking back. So for this episode, you all watching might look a little weird. Sorry about that. I can't. Sitting up for 2 hours would break me at the moment.
For those of you listening, nothing has changed.
Everything is exactly normal. Don't even think about it. You didn't hear nothing.
But that's all they're going to think about, bro.
Hey. Shh. They don't know. We're just going to keep it moving. So let's jump in. We got a bunch of topics to cover today. A whole bunch. A little football, a little NBA. But what are we going to start with today, Mike?
First up, we got the big fight from this past Saturday, UFC 259.
Anytime those guys fight, it's going to be a close fight.
All right. The UFC 259. Chris, you want to tell us all about it?
Big card. What's the first news from UFC 259 we got today, Mike?
The knee seen around the world.
And that it was.
So if anybody doesn't know what we're talking about, which you probably don't really follow a whole lot of UFC if you don't.
So in the fight that I called the sleeper fight on the card, Aljamain Sterling versus Petr Yan, it was a great fight. Truly delivered, like, ups and downs from each. Sterling was coming out hot in the beginning, and Yan was seeming to take over. But then I think it was round 4.
I believe so as well.
I think it was round 4. Aljamain shoots in for a takedown, I believe. Kind of gets stuffed, gets a little scramble. He is now on the ground. Petr Yan is now standing up. The referee literally calls out to Petr Yan, downed, indicating that this man is a downed opponent. You cannot kick or knee him in the head. Thus is the rules of MMA, at least in the U.S. And he fires off a blatantly intentional monster of a knee. And to the people on the internet, I keep saying, oh, it didn't even touch him. It barely grazed him. Give this guy an Academy Award. No.
Haven't seen that take. But yes, Petr Yan threw a very illegal knee, knocked out Aljamain Sterling. Like, he was clearly injured from that knee.
Yeah.
Definitely. He couldn't even get up.
And so Sterling won by DQ.
And it kind of, like, yeah, I get it. That's not the way you want to see a belt change hands. That's not...
Wait, so...
First time ever in the UFC a belt changed hands that way.
So
True.
Sterling won the title from Yan.
From a disqualification, yes.
Wow. Would you say, to that point, Yan was winning the fight?
I think so. As much as I wanted Sterling to win, I think he was, just with all the takedowns he was getting and with Sterling petering out due to stamina.
Pun intended.
I think it was... Yeah. The cards that came out had 2 judges for Yan, 1 for Sterling. Sterling was showing some promise in the beginning. He was trying different things. I feel like he was a little nervous, like it got into his head a little bit, and that kind of made him overexert himself on things.
Yeah, he kept slipping around all fight anytime he tried to throw a kick or just even shuffle out of the way.
Yan was very much taking over that fight. It looked like if it was allowed to finish, if the knee didn't happen, it was allowed to finish, Petr was going to win, and I think that's the other reason people are kind of upset.
And coming at Sterling?
Yeah. But what are you going to do there? If all that's going to happen is if he says, no, I'm fine, I can continue, he's going to take a big shot and get knocked the fuck out because he's definitely concussed. He was way past the point of return. And it was the right call. If this was not a title fight, this wouldn't be an issue. We've seen it before. What happens. And you move on with your day. It's just because the fact that a title changed hands. That is the reason people are making this more than what it is. But I think Aljamain Sterling did the right thing.
I haven't seen any takes of people coming after Sterling. I've mostly
that's
because I'm more of a casual, but what I've seen is people just, and myself included, saying I've never seen such a blatant act of like this is against the rules than that knee from Jan, where like you said, the referee Herb Dean was literally there, like saying that he was down, made it clear so that everybody knew, and he still came in. Jan kneed Sterling in the face. Sterling was, like you said, concussed, visibly altered him, and he was the champion. Like, shouldn't the champion know better than to do something that's stupid?
Either way, he should have known, because they made it a point in the back. Every single person will tell you. Piotr will say that. His team will say that. Aljamain's team will say it. That they made it a point to stress what was a downed opponent and what was not a downed opponent to them, because depending on commissions, there's different sets of unified rules, so it can change depending on where you're fighting. So they make sure to go into that in big detail depending on where they fight.
And why even risk it at that point where, like, if he doesn't throw the knee, okay, you wait a few seconds and whatever happens, right?
Right.
The fight continues. You throw the knee and you just lost your title on a disqualification. And for the casual fans, such as myself and probably Devin and some of our other listeners, you kind of just walk away looking like a scumbag.
What's the next item on the ticket?
Nunes continues to dominate.
And yes, she does. 1 round submission.
25 seconds.
You got, like I said, I didn't want to say it because it's Megan Anderson, and I love Megan Anderson, and this is the last fight on her 6-fight deal, so they might just be shutting down that whole division now because they don't really have a whole division.
Isn't Nunes just the entire division?
Basically, yeah.
For 145, yeah.
If you look at their rankings, she's the only one on it because she's the champion. It's a division they basically made for Chris Cyborg to get her into the UFC because she couldn't get down to 135. And then Nunes beat her, so they wanted to let her do the whole champ thing. Part of me feels like at this point, just let Nunes keep taking on whatever contender at 145. Just fuck it.
But doesn't it seem like at this point she's kind of proven that no one in that weight class can really challenge her?
I mean, but it's
no one can touch her in 135 either.
That's what I was gonna say.
So here's what I say: you let 2 people go in at her at once.
What is this, WWE?
Why not?
I mean,
if she's gonna be fighting, let's say she fights at 140, right? We'll do a catch weight.
Right.
You take 2 70-pound, really athletic 9-year-olds and let them go after her.
They'll get murdered.
Okay.
Yeah, it would be absolute murder. Like, there's fighters in the UFC that I think she could take 2 at a time.
Do you think she could take on a man?
I do think she could, but the UFC would never do that.
True. Fair.
But, like, I've seen, like, Jermaine Durandamy, the actual first UFC featherweight champion, after Cyborg had to pull out of a fight, I believe. Was it Cyborg against Holly Holm? I think it was. But she had actually, like, fought a man in Muay Thai, like, a long, long time ago and beat him. Like, it's happened.
Oh, I believe it. 1,000% believe it. Because, like you always say with MMA, you're always, like, 1 second away from getting knocked out, 1 second away from getting tapped out, you know?
Yeah, that's
the beauty of it.
It's the only sport that can end at any second, except for maybe boxing, but basic same idea.
Similar combat sport.
Yeah.
And except overtime hockey, that's the most exciting thing in the world. Playoff overtime hockey.
That's true. That is very true.
Yeah. Anyways.
But yeah, so it's just incredible to watch her run. I actually really hope they keep the featherweight division around because I do think there's, like, the Kayla Harrisons out there. I do think there are these, like, Clarissa Shields says she might want to move to MMA, and I don't see her getting down to 135. Like,
will Clarissa explain it all?
She will with the hands.
Israel Adesanya, who lost this weekend to
Jan Blachowicz. Jan Blachowicz is a killer. The comeback, the resurgence he's made in his career is absolutely incredible. I think the size just played the biggest factor. He was able to eat shots that a lot of guys at 85 weren't when he got him on the ground. Izzy just couldn't get any separation, couldn't get his hips free, couldn't create the scrambles that he uses at 85 to work his way out. Because Israel Adesanya just basically didn't cut for this fight.
So, was this considered an upset?
Yeah, pretty much everyone thought Izzy was going to do this and then go on to fight John Jones, even at heavyweight maybe. But Dana doesn't seem to want to do the John Jones fight anymore, and I don't blame him. Because John's even bigger than Jan.
Jan Peter?
No, Jan Blachowicz.
Okay.
What's Jones weighing in at about now?
Well, right now he's moving up to heavyweight, so he's fucking massive. He looks like his brother. Like, he's doing all the Olympic lifts. He's doing everything. He's probably like 235 at the moment. I'd say somewhere in that range. He's just a big, big, big dude. And unless Izzy's makes the commitment to move up to 205 and like do it the right way, I just don't think any of this stuff can happen. And I think if he fights John Jones at heavyweight, he's gonna get put to sleep.
Is that what's next?
No, not anymore. If he won the fight.
No, I mean for Blachowicz. I don't know.
Blachowicz.
No. Is he gonna fight John Jones?
No, because John. The reason he has the title is because John gave it up.
Because he loves cocaine.
No, because he's moving to heavyweight.
Oh, okay. And I get it, because if you're trying to put on weight, usually that's when you give up cocaine.
But I think he's gonna fight Glover Teixeira next. Actually trains right up here at ATT Danbury, and he's been on a tear, which is crazy at his age.
How old is he?
He's 41 at the moment.
Oof.
This is his last big run. Basically,
the Tom Brady.
I think he's gonna get the title shot next, and I think if he doesn't win the title, you're gonna see what happened to like Junior Dos Santos and Alistair Overeem and Yoel Romero recently. Guys that are still fighting at a very high level, but the UFC just realized, look, you're never gonna be a title contender again. You're getting up there. We just don't want to be involved anymore, so we're just gonna cut bait, even though you are one of the best in the world.
Taking them behind the barn, kinda.
Yeah, kind of.
Jeez, that's dark.
But you've just seen this big trend of them doing that.
So there was 3 title fights on this card. Which was the best fight in your opinion?
All in all, probably the Sterling Piotr Jan fight.
Until the knee.
Yeah, until the knee.
I'd say that had one of the most action-packed.
Yeah, it was the one that kept moving.
I mean, I kind of like the Izzy Jan fight.
Yeah, the only thing that takes away
that one went the distance, right?
Yes.
Yeah, well, that doesn't bother me.
No, but that just gives you more fight. You know, like Amanda Nunes ends her fight in, 30 seconds?
25.
Oh, excuse me for giving her extra time there.
Put some fucking respect on her name,
but that's what I'm saying is, like, as a casual, I respect the shit out of Nunes because she's incredible, but she's not necessarily like, I'm going to tune in and watch because, like, let's say, yes, you all know I go to the bathroom frequently. Maybe I missed the first minute of the fight, and I missed the fight.
Yeah.
But, to see Adesanya, and I'm not going to... Blachowicz go the distance is always fun because I'd like to see the 25 minutes of fight.
The only thing that took away from that from me is especially the last 2, maybe 3 rounds, I can't remember at the moment. Blachowicz really just once he not even just taking him down, but he wasn't like really advancing. He was just kind of holding pace. He was just not giving him any room to get back up.
He took the Mayweather approach.
Yeah, and just controlled the round.
I wouldn't say that he took the Mayweather approach. He was starting to get tired. I mean, you're weighing in at 205, still, and then you
I get what
bump up to 220 just like after weigh-ins, just to get as much nutrients back as you can or as much weight back as you can. That's a big dude. Like,
I get what you're saying.
He was winded.
I get what you're saying, but you're not trying to pass. You're not trying to do anything. You're just like you're.
I mean, it was the last 2 rounds where he got the takedowns that essentially knocked Izzy out of the fight. Yes, it went the distance, but it's what, in my opinion, won Blachowicz the fight.
Right, and that's what I mean by the Mayweather route of like he's not doing the most, he's not putting forth the most aggressive approach, but he's gonna put himself in position to win. Because I feel like every time Mayweather has a fight, it's like. He'll put himself in the lead and then just kind of.
Yeah, I actually kind of very much agree with Eric's point for the last 2 rounds. It's just he just needed to ice the fight He was doing what he needed to do to stay champion. And I'm not saying he was wrong for it. I'm just saying it leads to a little bit less excitement because I'm not saying grappling exchanges can't be exciting. I love grappling. But he wasn't passing. He wasn't doing anything. He was just keeping him down, doing enough to keep him there, not giving him any room to
Almost
get that
like running the
explosion.
clock.
I mean,
yeah.
Well, no, they both ate some heavy hits in those last couple of rounds as well.
I'm not saying they didn't, but it's just when he took him down, when it came to the grappling, he was trying to make zero mistakes. He was not trying to finish the fight.
No, in the fifth round, he was actually pummeling him down to the last till the bell rang.
Yeah, but
The
that was
fourth one-
that was for the last 10 seconds of the round.
The takedown in the fourth, he just kind of sat there.
No, but he did the same thing in the fifth, but you just remember that because in the last 10 seconds where he can afford to make a mistake, because even if he gets caught in something, he just has to not tap for 5 seconds. You know what I mean? It's different plays, but he was doing a lot of just holding the space, holding him down, doing what he needed to do for the fifth round too. And I'm not saying it wasn't an exciting fight. I'm just saying that's why it was less exciting to me than the Sterling Yan fight.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, and the last thing on the board for the UFC, Mike.
Khabib, Coach of the Year. Who spelt Khabib because they spelt it wrong?
Well, no one asked you, all right? Anyway. Yeah, Khabib has come out this year, has seemed to have made this seamless transition into coaching. He has, I forget if it's his cousin or his brother, Usman Nurmagomedov. He was in the corner of Islam Makhachev for his fight, giving great advice. He really knows his fighters super well because while they all train at ATT, it's like Khabib's team coming into ATT and just like cross-teaming, I guess. And I think he's really making a case in the early standout. If he can keep up this run and Makhachev and Usman and all these guys keep going on the runs that they're having, he could have a very strong case at the end of the year for Coach of the Year. And it's crazy how any form of fighting he just kind of excels in. And it's super nice to see that because his father used to run the team, who unfortunately passed away, I believe, to COVID-19 over the last year, very suddenly, he's kind of just taken his father's place. You know what I mean? And just kept that team together and just kept it moving. And it's pretty heartwarming to see, and I'm happy he's having all the success. And that's all I really have to say about that.
I mean, so with him staying around the sport, I know that probably still says no. Do you think he returns to the octagon?
No, I said it from the beginning. He's come out and said he doesn't want to. I think the only one really pushing that narrative is Dana because he's trying to pressure him. But Khabib's just not that guy. He's completely content with going back on his little farm in Dagestan with his goats and just hanging out and doing nothing. He knows he's set for life now.
Is he gonna stare at goats?
Wouldn't surprise me. He'll probably fucking ankle pick some goats just to get his MMA fix that way.
And where do you think Islam goes from here?
Yeah, I think there's a few fun fights for him. It's 155 is just such a crazy, crazy division that I really don't know who he fights next just because there are so many good options because that division's so stacked. I know that Kevin Lee has been calling out Khabib for years, and then he's been calling out Islam Makhachev now because no one wants to fight them, and he believes he can do it. I think that could be fun, but I'm really not sure where he goes from here. There's just too many options to narrow down.
So what's the next big event? Is there a pay-per-view coming up in a couple of weeks?
We've got about 2 weeks.
I don't remember the card off the top of my head, though. I'm going to be honest with you.
All right,
Yeah, I don't remember.
We'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
That might be the Stipe Ngannou card.
Yes, it is.
Okay, well, I don't know the rest of the card, but we'll get to that when we get to it. So let's just jump on. What's the next topic for the week?
Now let's jump into some NFL news.
Such a football guy.
All right, NFL news for the week.
All right, so first things first. Dak Prescott is not a baker, but he got a whole lot of dough. Baker. Well, we'll get to Baker another day. Dak Prescott got paid 4 years.
Paid.
$160 million.
$126 million guaranteed. That's all I give a fuck about.
No. You see, the best part, in my opinion, is that the signing bonus, $66 million to write your name on a piece of paper. Beautiful.
Dude.
I mean, good for Dak because that's just an awesome thing to ever be like, I'm walking out of the bank, here's my bank, let me just drop my ATM receipt on the floor. Oh yeah, what does that say? 126 million. Yeah, that's right. 66 million today. Going forward, is this worth it for the Cowboys?
It's hard to say because where they are now, no. Because they have no defense. They have so much money invested into 3 guys on the offense.
It's actually 5. Did you forget they have 2 of the highest paid offensive linemen in NFL history?
No, I get that too. But Amari's, I think, the number 1 receiver paid, right?
I think number 2. I think someone got extended this offseason that beat him.
Okay, so...
But yes, top 2. Zeke's in the top, 3 in running back.
And then Dak now is the second highest paid.
Yeah.
Behind Patrick Mahomes.
Right.
That's 3 guys that are at the very least top 3 in any of their categories. That is so much money to invest in 3 guys. Where are they going to find anything else? They have to draft impeccably, and they have no defense.
Yes.
So would you say it's good or bad being Jerry Jones right now?
I think Jerry Jones...
It's always good to be Jerry Jones.
Well, I think this is the first time we've ever seen Jerry Jones play chicken and lose.
I completely disagree. Here's my thing. I think it's absolutely going to be worth it because if you see how much the salaries are jumping from year to year, we're going to look at this by the end of this deal and say, okay, Dak Prescott's only making 40.
I get what you're saying, but this year in particular, that it happened this year, it just dropped $16.5 million.
Right. This year it's going to be tough. But I'm saying that in the course of a 4-year deal, by the 3rd and 4th year, we're going to be like, because the revenue's going to come back. They're going to start allowing fans back. Revenue's going to be up. I've seen reports that apparently this is just Jerry Jones tipping the hand that the NFL is on the brink of another massive deal, another massive TV deal.
True.
I think when you look at situations like Deshaun Watson, and you're like, he's not happy, he wants out. You look at Russell Wilson, where these are guys who did get paid and they want out. I think the first step you have to do when you have a guy that's your quarterback is you have to say, you are my quarterback. And that's what Jerry did, and I think it's going to work out. You raise a great point that they have no defense and they're not going to be able to afford a defense for a year or 2. But I think in the long run, this is a great move for the Cowboys.
I think this just signs the death certificate on either Amari or Zeke as a Dallas Cowboy, because there's no way they're going to be able to stock a defense paying that much money and then paying for the linemen, and then you know what I mean.
And I think if out of them, it's going to be Amari because they drafted CeeDee Lamb. You see how many receivers are available as free agents. There's not as many quarterbacks to go around. There's not as many running backs to go around. I think there's just more receiver talent than there are at the other positions.
Yeah, but I also think Jerry Jones is very good at realizing when people are on the downturn. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I think Zeke is just going to keep progressively going down. I'm not saying he's going to fall off next year and be a terrible running back, but I think every year since he's been in the league, he's gone down, and I don't see that trend changing anytime soon.
Also, do we think Dak is going to, even though he's getting paid now, do you think Dak's going to return decent or good this year after the injury he had last year?
That's the other big thing.
That's a good question.
That's the other huge thing about this deal is you're guaranteeing $126 million to a guy that you don't know if he's broken goods.
Well, I think this is one of the rare situations where he got paid because of the injury. I think when he got hurt and they were like, okay, he got hurt, but then the entire team around him just played terribly, that just showed his value. Because you're not going to... they'd rather pay all this money into him than take a shot on Ben DiNucci or long-term Andy Dalton. Of course not. So, like, I think the injury helped him. But, no, it's a great question of will he be, is this going to affect his ability to be mobile? Is this going to affect his throw on the run? There's a lot of things that, we got to wait and see. Again, I've said it before, we got into it a little bit before, but, like, Zach Martin's going to be a Hall of Famer. Tyron Smith's going to be a Hall of Famer. Those are two linemen that are actually making more money than starting quarterbacks in the NFL. So I just think once everything's all set, I still think that this is a good move for the Cowboys.
Also, still talking about the injury thing, do we think this is going to be almost like a Derek Carr situation where he can't get out of his own head over the injury? Besides not being as mobile.
I mean, yeah, there are the mental aspects of it. I think Dak's a more mentally strong guy than Derek Carr, just from the way I've seen him carry himself.
Right.
So I don't think that'll be such a big deal with him. But you honestly never know.
Well, the best cure is always winning.
Yeah.
So if they come out and they get off to a 4-0 start, I mean, we're going to all be saying, okay, it's fine.
Right.
So the play on the field is going to determine that. Where do you think this sets up the NFC East?
I think as much as we shat on the NFC East this year, I think...
Well, it's also the worst division in the league.
That's what I'm saying. I think it's going to take a big step up this year. I think most of these teams only have... The only way they can go is up. I'm still very worried about the Eagles situation, but new coaches, new quarterback, you've seen it bring life into people. But I think the Giants get better this year. They got out of the Golden Tate deal, which was kind of like cancerous on the team a little bit.
They're trying to franchise Leonard Williams.
Right.
I don't know if that happened yet. Don't think it has. As of this recording, Leonard Williams had a great season. I think they got to keep him to keep that defensive front seven set.
Yeah, and I think that defense is a shining spot. I think this is probably Daniel Jones' last year to really prove it. So I think they're going to try to do the best they can to give him every opportunity to. Because they reached so hard for him, they need him to work out. You know what I mean?
They did, but also remember that draft, people were talking, is it going to be Daniel Jones or Dwayne Haskins? So it looks like they actually made the right decision there.
I agree.
I think you got to give Daniel Jones a little bit more of a leash just because he didn't come into the league a starter. So that you got to take the rookie year with a grain of salt where he didn't get the first team reps until he was thrown into line of fire.
With no O-line.
This past season, he didn't have Saquon, and that changes the entire complexion of the offense.
Yeah.
This year's going to be a big proving year. I completely agree. I also think in terms of the Eagles, there's going to be Jalen Hurts' coming out party where he's either going to be like taking that next step of, okay, this is my first full year as a starter and jumps up, or we're going to see maybe he's just not that great. And I think what they do in the draft is going to be very important to Jalen Hurts' success. If they get him a weapon, if Devonta Smith or Jamar Chase comes, that's going to be huge. If they're not available, or if the Eagles, I've seen mock drafts where they take Mac Jones. If they take Mac Jones, I don't see the Eagles winning more than 5 games this year.
Yeah, I think at least give Hurts the shot at this point if you're gonna.
And that's what Jeffrey Lurie's been saying.
Yeah, so I mean, I could see them take a quarterback later just to have a backup because I don't know what their backup situation is right now.
It's that guy Sudfield who came in for the last game of the season.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Wow, we were so mad about that, and like only a few weeks out, it's completely out of my head.
Sending Washington football team into the playoffs.
Yeah, so apparently they're going another year with that. That's weird to me, but anyway. Yeah, but I think the division as a whole is going to look way better next year.
Well, I think the one team that we haven't mentioned that it's going to come down to, in my opinion, is the Washington football team, who they get at quarterback.
Yeah.
Alex Smith is out. They signed Tyler Hinkey to a deal, but it's like a 2-year, $8 million deal, which like isn't going to handicap them if they wanted to pile on another quarterback. Let's say Jameis Winston. You throw Jameis Winston out there with Terry McLaurin, you give him Antonio Gibson and a great defense, maybe he has some success. There's still, plenty of names being thrown out there.
Yeah. It's so like It feels like everyone is just like, oh well, it kind of depends on who their quarterback's gonna be this year.
Well, I think with the draft, there's a lot of questions because you never know. Like, it seems like the Jets could take a quarterback, and then Darnold could be available. If Darnold's the quarterback of Washington, maybe they're better. Atlanta's talking about getting younger. Maybe they trade Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan on Washington, they'd be good. All right, so elsewhere in the NFL, we're approaching free agent season. We're approaching franchise tag deadline. The Jets, our guys, are franchising Marcus May, who had himself a very nice year. The Bucks have franchise tagged Chris Godwin. There's been a bunch of others. Some notable names not getting franchised that are going to be free agents include the running back Aaron Jones, wide receivers by the name of Kenny Galladay, Allen Robinson, Juju Smith-Schuster, Corey Davis, Curtis Samuel. Just recently, the Chiefs have announced that Eric Fisher will be a free agent. They're going to save some money with him leaving. Defensive players, we got Melvin Ingram, Richard Sherman, Yannick Ngakoue, which is like my favorite name in the world to say. That's coming on to... Draft better get ready because that name's coming for him.
Shh, don't tell him.
Janoris Jenkins is a free agent. So it looks like there's going to be a lot of movement going on.
Yeah, this... I know everyone's been saying it, but this next week is going to be an absolute slaughterfest. The cap went down $16.5 million. Is this the first time ever the caps went down?
First time in a long time. Put it like that.
Like, yeah, teams are shaking in their boots right now because this is not only were they not expecting it to go down, they were expecting it to go up by 10, 15 million. So all these deals are based on what they expected to market to be, and now the market is not even close to that.
It's also interesting how we saw Dak got paid, how we see the situations with the quarterbacks like Deshaun and Russ Wilson kind of dictating their futures, and it just seems like the positions outside of quarterback, the running backs, and definitely the receivers, they've become more expendable, I guess, to teams.
Yeah, because the quarterback just always has the football in his hand every play, and just wide receivers been running pretty deep.
Very true. That's why I believe
you've been seeing a lot of guys, like look at your Justin Jeffersons, your Chase Claypools, there's all these guys coming in 1 year making the biggest impact on their team.
Right, and you see in the draft a lot of talk about Jamar Chase and Devonta Smith and Jalen Waddle, and these are guys that normally, you don't always see receivers being talked about in the top 5. This year, yeah, it's going to be quarterbacks and receivers going in the top 10.
Bro,
we got
I know we harped on this last week, but I hate these mock drafts.
I hate mock drafts.
I literally saw one 2 days ago that had Waddle and Jamar Chase going before Devonta Smith.
I just don't get it. I mean,
like, why?
Anything. I saw some draft had Devonta Smith falling to 15 going to the Patriots. If Bill Belichick is allowed to have Devonta Smith, I will cry because they just traded and they got Trent Brown back. They have all of these players who opted out. All of them are saying they're coming back. Kyle Van Noy is a free agent. He's going to return to. He was on the Patriots when they won Super Bowls. Played for the Dolphins last year. Got cut. He's going to. He's going to go back to New England. They're going to be good again, and it's going to be so annoying.
Dude, Kyle Van Noy is probably like the most upsetting cut out of all of these because they were basically just like, hey, you had a great year. You want to know your reward? Here's your fucking walking papers.
And the Patriots have the third most cap space, so they're going to sign somebody. The Patriots are going to be good again, and it's going to suck.
I know. That's the thing. Everyone was freaking out. Belichick saying, oh, well, we sold out the last 3 years to get another Super Bowl. What do you expect? But their selling out only fucks them up for 1 year. And then they're right back in the mix.
And they were 7-9. It's not even like they had a terrible, like the Jets sell out for a year and we got the second pick. Nice. The Patriots have a bad down year, 7-9.
That's the Jets' good year.
Oh, man. So we're gonna get into that a lot in the next episode because there's just a lot of names that are moving, a lot of deals are gonna be made, a lot of headlines are gonna be coming out of the NFL.
It's gonna get so much worse.
It's gonna be very, very interesting. We're gonna keep eyes on that. Be sure to follow us on the social medias so you can let us know your predictions. Constantly tweeting out polls and stuff. A lot of NBA talk. So let's dive into it. Triple-double his whole career. 10 seconds left. He hits the three.
We got a lot of NBA talk today.
We had the All-Star Game, the All-Star Weekend take place in one night.
Can you really call that an All-Star weekend?
There was an All-Star
Day.
night.
Yeah.
So All-Star event. We got a very nice call from Kisco Matt explaining his true thoughts on the All-Star Weekend. Team LeBron won 170 to 150 over Team KD, which is weird to say because Durant didn't play.
True.
Giannis won the MVP. He didn't miss a shot. He started 15 for 15. Like, he was having himself a game.
Hot.
My opinion, I think Dame Lillard with those 40-footers, including the one to end the game, like, I think he should have won the MVP.
I get your point there, but like you just said, Giannis didn't miss a shot. And I understand it's not from 40 feet out because it's Giannis, so he wants to get to the rim.
Yeah, but Giannis...
But he even knocked down a 3.
Yeah, right? And the announcers are all, don't shoot it. And he makes it.
They're just like, yeah! Keep shooting it. That was my favorite part. They're like, no. They did it. They're just like, see, I believed in you the whole time.
Marvin C. Webb just having fun with it.
I think that's something they do good at the All-Star Game is they usually get commentators that, like, understand that this is just for fun.
Well, yeah, it's Marvin and Weber and, like, all of the TNT guys. They're, like, Shaq and Kenny and Chuck. Like, they're the best.
And it's just, again, it's just having fun. It's not so much, like, they're not calling a basketball game. They're having fun while watching a basketball game.
Right.
And that's what I think the All-Star Game commentating should be.
And that's what the All-Star Game should be. Like, we had fun watching Chris Paul dunk and Steph Curry and Lillard, like, the young guys dunk. I mean, the smaller players dunking. And, like, it was a lot of fun.
Yo, that clip of Curry hanging on the rim like he's like this big giant Shaq motherfucker was my favorite.
Yeah, that's what it should be, having fun. Or like when Curry lost the dribble, ball rolls out to center court, he picks it up at the S and All-Star Game and just chucks it up, and of course it goes in because it's Steph Curry.
Oh yeah,
just of course. I mean,
they were really having fun with it. They were setting each other up for wild alley-oops. They were just like, let's be the Globetrotters for a night.
That's
like,
what it is. You're just watching the most talented athletes in the world, and I will argue with anybody to the end of the world that the NBA athletes are the best athletes. I just, it's fun. Why did we do it, though? My question is, you saw what happened with Embiid and Simmons, where their barber in Philadelphia tested positive, then tested inconclusive. So out of an abundance of caution, Simmons and Embiid couldn't play in the game.
Right.
Got lucky that they both tested negative, that they were quarantined, so we didn't have contact tracing, anything like that. But we were really close to having an issue of what if they found this out, 2 hours later, and Embiid and Simmons had already practiced with the team. You're going to have to shut down the whole event, shut down the whole league for a week.
And not only that, you take, like, 15 out of the 30 teams in the NBA and take their stars away.
Not just that, you got to think you had the dunk contest and the skills contest all in the same night, so they're all there anyway, so every team's going to be affected by this.
Yeah, and it's not even like taking away like one or two guys here or there. It's every team's best players. That's literally the point of All-Star Weekend. Like,
yeah. So again, it's like I saw a lot of people tweeting online, couldn't we have just done what the NFL did, where you name them to the game and it's a nice ceremony and you let the players spend a week with their family?
Yeah.
That's what I would have done.
Like, look, the game was fun, and, like, I'm happy they played it in the fact that it was fun to watch and blah, 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 but at the end of the day, it just wasn't the right decision, in my opinion.
Agreed. In the scheme of the pandemic, it just didn't make sense. They did everything in one night, so we got to talk about everything like once.
Oh my god, that dunk contest was terrible. I'm just gonna be honest.
My thing is Cassius Stanley from the Indiana Pacers, the rookie who doesn't play. His first dunk, the first dunk of the event, was the best dunk. It was phenomenal. He bounced it, went all the way up, went under his legs, windmill slam. That was the best dunk, and that didn't get that got like a 43. So it was all downhill from there. Our boy Obi Toppin of the New York Knicks, he's actually local for where we live. He was all right. He was all right. Nothing great. Nothing incredible.
He didn't embarrass himself, but he didn't. Like, you're not gonna remember that he did it.
So my question for you is, if you could pick 3 dunkers, past, present, any 3 dunkers for a halftime dunk contest, who would you pick?
See, I've been racking my brain about that since you brought that up to me as a topic. And it's not even so much that a dunk contest that I'd want to watch because the dunkers are great. I would just love to see Dwight Howard and Shaq in a dunk contest together in their prime, just because Shaq would bully him like a little school child, and it would be the most entertaining. Like, they both need to be mic'd up. They both need to just go head to head, and just it would fucking kill me inside laughing.
I would love to watch them go 1-on-1, but we all know that would just turn into a fight.
Oh yeah,
That would turn into a brawl.
which Superman's gonna come out on top? All right.
Okay. So my 3, Dr. J, Julius Erving,
Oh yeah.
Sean Kemp of the Seattle Supersonics, big man could throw down,
Right.
and of course Vincent.
I like it.
Don't get me wrong, I'd love to see LeBron and Zach LaVine and Zion, but these are guys that are currently playing in AllStar games, so if we're going to do dunk contests at halftime, they're not going to be in the dunk contest.
I would honestly love to see LeBron do a dunk contest. I know he's past that, and it's for like the more up and coming guys and like the smaller name guys that aren't on the All-Star team. But like when he gets the fast breaks and he just lays down a fucking monster slam.
When he was with the Heat and those layup lines, he
Oh,
would
yeah.
he would make a show out of it.
Oh yeah. So I know it wouldn't happen, but I would love to see him in one.
Him and Westbrook. I think Westbrook also just the athleticism.
Right.
I mean, maybe 5 years ago it was a little bit more pep in his step, a little more hot, but that would be fun.
Oh yeah, that'd definitely be a good one. Yeah, but like I said, the only reason I want mine is just so Shaq can beat up
Shaq
Dwight
versus
Howard.
Dwight. Who's the real Superman? Both went from the Magic to the Lakers.
It's true.
Let's finish up the All-Star festivities. Steph Curry won the dunk contest,
You mean a 3-point shoot?
the 3-point contest. Wow, yeah. He had that one dunk hung on the rim, and that's just what just blazed into my brain.
Yeah, but I mean,
So Steph,
what did you expect was going to happen? The only one
Right.
I feel like could have like rivaled him would have been Clay, but obviously Clay's out for the year. Like, it's just Steph Curry is automatic from the 3. Like when he would miss 2 in a row, I'd be like, "Holy shit!"
this is the second time he's won it. He's probably the best 3-point shooter of all time, probably the best pure shooter of all time. I think they should just let it be like Steph, his splash brother, and then his actual brother, Seth Curry. Let
Yeah,
the 3 of them just shoot it out. Let them play like knockout.
yeah. I mean, doesn't Seth have a higher career average for 3-point shots?
I think percentage-wise, but still, like, we know.
No, I'm not saying. Steph obviously takes 9 million more than anyone else in the league. Except for maybe like Dame. Dame does love throwing up a 3.
Dame's learned to. I think Dame saw the way Steph changed the game, and Dame adapted.
Right.
Because Steph has turned the entire court into, like, the entire half court is within his range, and Dame is of the same caliber.
Yeah, and I feel like Dame is also the type of guy who's just like, oh, you shot it from 40 feet, I'll shoot it from 41.
Yeah, they were.
Like-
I mean, LeBron said that that's what the two of them were doing, was they were just challenging each other. Especially at the end, you saw that. Speaking of LeBron, like, LeBron was taking this as an opportunity to chill. He didn't play very much. He didn't play the second half.
Dude, he's just having a great time.
He was eating snacks.
Like,
When all right, so Giannis won the MVP. LeBron tweeted, "Congrats to Giannis," and Giannis said something along the lines of like, "Thanks, you're gonna make a great owner one day, a great GM one day."
hell yeah.
Will LeBron be a team owner or a GM, and will he be the best of all time at it? Because he's 4-0 in All-Star games. This was a joke. This time, like, Durant's team, yeah, there were some injuries, and Embiid didn't get a play, but LeBron's starting lineup was phenomenal.
Oh, yeah. First 3 picks. Well, first 2 picks, technically. So you had LeBron, you had Giannis, you had Steph Curry on the same team. Are you fucking kidding me?
Right? That's 8 MVPs right in between them.
Like, oh my God. It takes care of
7
size,
finals.
it takes care of shot, it takes care of inside, it takes care of outside, it takes care
7.
of defense. Like,
And then the 2 other starters, Nikola Jokic and Luka Doncic, who are probably the 2 best international players we've seen.
and that's just like to sprinkle a little extra. Like,
Right? Like,
that's fucking incredible.
that's one of those lineups that, like, years from now we'll look back on and just be like, well, shit. that's an extraordinary group of players.
Yeah, and I think like the only pick he really didn't make with his head was the Chris Paul pick because that's just his boy.
They're buddies.
Yeah.
And Chris Paul had a great game. We were talking a little bit about how Chris Paul maybe didn't belong in the AllStar game, but he proved it. He was like, yeah, why not?
I mean, Chris Paul is definitely always one of the best players in the world, no matter, like, even though he's getting older, like, all that stuff. It's just, I felt like there were some younger guys who might have been a little more deserving this year, but I never didn't believe he couldn't keep up. You know what I mean? I'm not saying he shouldn't be in talks. I'm just saying, as the older vet, there's a lot of younger guys who are, like, making a splash, making some names for themselves, like, you know what I mean? Like, I would have liked to see them a little better, but I would never say he was out of place.
No, I just meant, like, statistically speaking, like, we thought there might have been some other guards, some other players that maybe deserved it over him.
That's
But
what I'm
you're
saying.
right. You're right. No, he's always going to be in that pedigree, in that conversation. And as we clearly see with the Suns being the 2 seed, whatever team he's on, it just gets that much better.
He is really probably the best, just like in-game manager, like on-court manager I've ever seen in basketball.
Yeah.
He commands as much respect as like the coach, I feel like.
I think he is a coach on the floor. And like we're talking about how LeBron's going to one day be a GM and just make these incredible teams. Chris Paul's going to be the coach of whatever team LeBron's the GM.
Oh yeah, 100%.
10 years from now, it's going to be, LeBron James is the GM, Chris Paul's the coach, Bronny Jr. is going to be the star player. Like,
And fucking Dwayne Wade is going to be like the manager of basketball operations.
and
Like,
Zaire Wade's going to be on the team. Like, it's going to be a family affair. It's going to be the banana boat.
and that team is going to
Melo's-
wreck.
Melo's going to be the offensive coordinator.
Oh yeah.
That'll be it. The banana boat team.
I really like, whether it's ownership, whether it's GM, like, I think LeBron's already proven every single year for the past, probably since he got back to Cleveland, probably, that he's basically been the coach and GM of his teams.
He has been. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he even was with Miami. With Miami,
Right.
You saw him bringing in the pieces they needed, like Ray Allen. And
Where I think that was more, I think he was met with a little more resistance in Miami. Not that they weren't like trying, but like they'd question him a little more. Where once he moved to like Cleveland and even the Lakers now, I think the Lakers, he's getting a little more feedback than Cleveland. But they were just like, he said, okay, get this guy. They went and got that guy. No question. Just, okay, this is the move we're making.
right, and I think that's because in Miami you had Pat Riley,
Right.
who was also a legend of the game, and he was calling the shots.
Right.
Hang on, we're gonna dive real into all of this in a second. I just want to touch up the last little drop of All-Star Weekend. My boy, Domantas Sabonis, won the skills competition. Again, a big man winning the skills competition. I just got a question about the skills competition in general. Is it cool or a waste of time?
I like things like that. Like I was talking about it last week, before the All-Star game. Like, I wish they hammed that shit up more. I wish they went like full NFL, like how they do like the moving targets for the quarterbacks and like, like things like that. Like, just make it crazy. Like, I feel like there's just so many more opportunities like that. Like, they tried the thing with the horse, and I think that's cool. Like, I honestly really do. But I do like these little like random skills competitions just to see, just like in a bubble, kind of where these guys are at.
I know a comedian said it. I think it was Jim Carrey or somebody. But what I want to see is a regular person compete alongside them just for
Yeah.
reference. Because, like, obviously a dunk contest, you're not going to be able to find, like, an average person that can dunk like that. For the three-point contest, like, most people probably can't do it with any kind of consistency. But, like, the skills contest, yeah, you're dribbling between whatever cones and the layup. And I think that's something where you could just be like, okay, here's, like, an above-average person at LA Fitness. Let's throw them in there with Julius Randle, Luka Doncic, and Sabonis and see how they do.
You know what they should do? And NBA, if you use this idea, I expect my fucking royalties. Dribbling American Ninja Warrior course.
Explain. How would you do it?
I don't know. But just like you have to get through the whole course while dribbling a ball, like jumping over shit, like ducking under things,
Like,
dodging, dipping.
Pendulum swinging, and
Yeah.
you gotta get through, make the layup. I like it. Maybe like a 12-foot rim, and you gotta make a layup.
Yeah, like just crazy shit. Just like
We're onto something here. Pole vaulting, just for out of nowhere.
just while dribbling a ball, you have to pole
At
vault.
half court, you just gotta pole vault. If you don't make it over, it's a turnover.
Dude, that'd be sick. You could make a TV show out of that.
There you go.
I think my cousin's girlfriend's a network exec. They gotta get on
We
this.
gotta call her right now. American Basketball Ninja Warrior or American Ninja Basketball. Somebody hit us with the name. The name will come to us. All right, it is mid-season award time for the NBA. Would you like to go first? Shall I go first?
You go first because I don't have anything in front of me right now, and when you say it, I'll remember mine.
Yeah, okay, we'll go by awards. So my MVP of the first half of the season is Nikola Jokic. Dude's having an unbelievable season. He's putting up triple doubles. He's the only player on the Nuggets to have played all 36 games. He is a force to be reckoned with. They have so many different advanced metrics to look at. He is in the top of all of them. His rebounding, his passing, for a big man to be in the top 3 in the league in assists per game. There's a specific metric. I don't remember the exact number, but it's real plus or minus of time on the court. He is in first, Embiid's in second. The distance between Jokic at first and Embiid in second is the difference between Embiid in second and 14th on the list.
Right.
So he's just that far ahead. The Nuggets are struggling. They're in 6th place in the West, I believe, 5th place, 6th place at the break. They're a few games over 500. They're not doing great, but I think if you take him off that team, look at the injuries they've had and how good the West is, that's not a team that's making the playoffs.
You're just picking him because you like the Nuggets, because a Nuggets player followed us on Twitter.
Yes, that too. PJ Dozier.
You
What
out
up?
here, my guy.
What up?
Yeah. For MVP, I kind of went the safe route, kind of the route everyone's been talking about, but I do honestly believe it. I picked Joel Embiid. I feel like the guy is almost redefining the big man position.
Absolutely.
It's not even like you don't just have to be a guy who's good on defense and just like holds down the paint. He's shooting from outside. He's breaking ankles. He's doing everything. Just things you'd never expect out of a big man. Things like I feel like he is what we as Knicks fans were talking about what Chris Stapps could have been in the early run before he kept getting injured. And he's taken that to the complete next level. He's a complete player with the big man size, and it's just incredible to watch.
Yeah, he's averaging over 30 points a game. He's shooting, I think, 40% from 3. 11.5 rebounds a game. He's shooting 41% from 3, 85% from free throws, 50% from the field. Like, he's flirting with that 50-40-90 club. Like, he's having an unbelievable season. The only reason I would take Jokic over Embiid is that I think if you take Embiid off the Sixers, you still have Simmons and Harris, and those are 2 star players, and Doc Rivers, where you take out the Nuggets and you take Jokic off, and it's just Murray. So that's the only difference, but I don't think either of them is a wrong choice.
Yeah.
I
think they're both fair choices.
LeBron's gonna always be in the conversation for MVP. The Lakers, obviously everything the Lakers do runs through LeBron. He's that guy that for the last 15 years has been in the conversation every year. I think it's just LeBron fatigue.
I think if we're being honest, if we're talking about most valuable player to an organization, kind of like the same way we went with like me saying Derrick Henry for football, it probably should be LeBron every year.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Just because, again, he is that organization. He's the coach. He's the GM. He's the star. He's the floor general. He's
the passer, the rebounder, the defensive guy. He is, you need a big stop, it's LeBron. You need a big 3, it's LeBron. You need he's going to be that guy.
You need to get a guy over to your team to recruit him. It's LeBron. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
It's just, but again, like you're saying, you can't just give it to him every year.
LeBron fatigue. I mean, the same thing to an extent with Giannis, where like Giannis is having a monster season. The Bucks are still in the conversation for the best team in the East. They're, third right now, but they within range of the Sixers, within range of the Nets, they can make a run. Do we really want Giannis? I mean, I'm not saying no to it, but Giannis a third year in a row just seems unlikely.
Yeah.
It wouldn't shock me if he got hot and wins it,
Right.
but it's one of those things where the NBA, I feel, likes to spread it around a little bit, and if you can get a new name in there for the MVP.
And I feel like Jokic and Embiid are just doing something absolutely special this year.
Speaking of special this year, we both have the same pick for Coach of the Year because what he's doing is very special.
Oh, 100%.
Tom Thibodeau of our New York Knicks.
That might be a little hometown bias, but fuck you, we don't care.
Fuck it, we don't care because they're over 500 in 5th place and actually look like a good team. They're the best defensive team in basketball in terms of field goal percentage allowed, in terms of points allowed, and in terms of 3-point percentage.
We've been a lottery team for the last 5 years?
8.
8.
It's been 8 years since the Knicks have been in the playoffs.
And now we're at the 5 seed at the All-Star break? Come on.
Exceeding expectations.
100%.
We have a young team. We're seeing Julius Randle transform in front of our eyes. I mean, we'll get to him in a minute, but RJ Barrett's a young guy playing a ton of minutes. Nerlens Noel's filling in for Mitch Robinson. He's playing very well. Alfred Payton's having a resurgence. Thibodeau,
Quickly's having a big year.
He's coming out of nowhere.
Yeah, the drafting this year was even good. When was the last time you said that about the Knicks? That's why when the idea for Beal or whatever, everyone was just like, oh, but you're giving away 3 picks. If this was last year, I would have been like, who cares? We never picked the right guy anyway. Where now it's just all right, I can understand keeping those picks.
Yeah.
Because the last 2 they made, the last 2 big ones they made of the last year, hit hard.
Yeah.
Obi's been dealing with some injuries, maybe hasn't been getting as much time. But when he's been there, he's been played well. And then you have Quickly, who's been going off.
Quickly's been a blessing.
Yeah.
Nobody expected this kid to come in and play minutes, and he's not just came in and playing minutes, he's playing really well.
Yeah.
So, congrats to Thibs. He's our midseason Coach of the Year. Rookie of the Year, we also agree here, LaMelo Ball of the Charlotte Hornets.
Yeah, who else would you, I don't think there's even anyone else in contention. The way he's transitioned to the league has been seamless. And I think as much as everyone likes to shit on LeVar Ball, me included, never lost.
He was right.
But yeah, going and playing in a professional league overseas, I think really helped him out because in college, I've noticed that in college people are more controlled, more babied, a little more babied and a little more boot camp-esque, where they do what you need them to do, but they also will be responsible for you and say, hey, you can't do this, can't do that. You get to the NBA, you get to any professional league, and they're just hey, you're adults. When you're here, you're working. But when you go home, we can't tell you what to do.
With LaMelo, we're hearing a lot of players such as Draymond Green recently came out and said, he's so much more ready than we thought. He came into the league right away, and MJ nailed it with the pick. So, Good for them. It's going to be interesting to years from now, if LaMelo keeps on this pace and he becomes a star, what people are going to think about Anthony Edwards being taken over him. Not that Anthony Edwards is having a bad year. He's having a pretty, rookie year. It's just LaMelo right now leads rookies in points, rebounds, assists, and steals. It's his award.
Yeah.
It's his award.
And
and he's just going to keep getting better. He's only 19.
But even with like what you said with Draymond said, even the players in the league didn't think this is going to happen. So you can't knock them for thinking Anthony Edwards is going to be better because he came from the proven system of the NCAA system. And so you have a little more faith in that, you know what I mean? Just because it's the way people normally go. So LaMelo just came in as this kind of wild card, and even though everyone saw what he was doing and knew he was going to be a good player, I don't think going with Anthony Edwards, the quote-unquote safe route, was necessarily the bad pick.
That's what made this draft so interesting, though, is because you had Anthony Edwards, who, like you said, played his college career at Georgia. He got he went the traditional route. Then you had James Wiseman, who played 3 games at Memphis before the NCAA decided to ruin all the fun and he couldn't play. So he really didn't play a whole lot coming into this season. And LaMelo, like you said fuck the NCAA, I'm going to make money, and played in New Zealand. I think he actually ended up buying the team he played for, which is a absolute big baller move.
But then he went to a bigger team, I think, too.
I don't know how many times you walk away from a team and you're like, I'm buying them.
Yeah, right.
Big baller move. Like, imagine you just walk out of like, just get lunch and just casually like, yeah, this lunch was really good. I'm buying the restaurant. Like, big baller brand move. LaMelo, I mean, he's just gonna keep going up.
Oh yeah.
Defensive Player of the Year. You and I differ a little here. You want to go with your pick?
Sure. I got Rudy Gobert just because that man's Block City all day.
See, but that's where you and I disagree because I'm going with the only guy who has more blocks per game than him,
True.
Miles Turner. Miles Turner's averaging 3.4 blocks a game, and he plays like 20 minutes a night.
Yeah. That's actually a very solid point. I think
Actually, a lie is 31 minutes a night, but
Oh, okay.
nonetheless.
Still. No, I get that, but I think just Rudy's really leading that Utah Jazz team. I feel like he kind of commands the defensive side of the ball. He's like one of their guys who like he's been there for a while. He's established. He's the veteran of the team at this point, I'd probably say, right?
Yeah, agreed. He's also second in the league with blocks at 2.7, second in the league at rebounding. You're not wrong in picking Rudy, and realistically, I think it probably is going to be Rudy, especially if the Jazz can keep up
This run,
this incredible pace of just dominating.
That's the other reason I kind of went with him is just because it's more effective. Because it's resulting in wins. I understand he has other pieces around him. Like he's not doing it by himself.
Still, 13 rebounds a game for Gobert, 2.7 blocks. Yeah.
So that's why I went there.
Honorable mention to T.J. McConnell, who had 9 steals and a half.
Yeah, that's fucking
That's
crazy.
insane.
That is actually insane.
He had 9 steals and a half, finished
That's
the game
2K
with 10.
numbers. Like,
I mean, he leads the league in steals at 2 steals per game, but he only averages 25 minutes. So, like, he just came in and just by doing that fucked everything up. Sixth man of the year. I don't think we'll get to everything. We're going back to the Utah Jazz. Jordan Clarkson's coming off the bench being an elite scorer. You throw in Donovan Mitchell and Mike Conley as the starters. They got a trio, three-headed monster where let's say Conley needs a night off. You throw in Clarkson, you're not missing a beat. Mitchell is taking a night off. Throw in Clarkson, not missing a beat. Like, this Jazz team might be built to last. We're going to get into them thoroughly in a little bit.
yeah, I really did not have a strong opinion either way on Sixth Man of the Year, so I could not make up my mind.
Sounds like another vote for Clarkson. We're doing
Yeah,
it.
so we can just go with that one. Like I mean, you're making all strong points, and I wouldn't say you're wrong. I don't know. I just haven't been thinking of that award, so I haven't been really looking for it for the games I've seen.
Well, we can get into the Jazz now because we both have them as the biggest surprise.
Oh yeah, I expect them to have a good team this year, but to come out the way they have and just absolutely dominate good teams too. Like it's not even just the bad teams. If anything, they're losing to more bad teams than the good teams.
Yeah, it's impressive when you look at what Quinn Snyder's done with this team because you have the West, which is obviously very loaded. You have the Lakers, you have, AD's injury. You have the Clippers, you have the Phoenix Suns now going nuts, and the Jazz are 27-9. That's at 75%. They've won 3/4 of their games. Like, I don't think anybody expected them. We expected them to be good. I don't think anyone expected them to be elite. And honestly, when you watch them play, they look like a team that can really win a title. Our biggest surprise, the Utah Jazz. Our biggest disappointment so far, we both picked teams in the East.
Okay, I'll jump off. My biggest disappointment is the Miami Heat. Coming off a finals run, just came out super soft. I understand Jimmy Butler was like recovering. Probably he was obviously pretty banged up after that finals.
They also had a COVID issue where for a couple games they were without Bam and Dragic and a bunch of players too.
Yeah, but I just feel like you haven't heard much about Tyler Hero.
Big fall off.
Bam Adebayo, I feel like you haven't been hearing quite as much about him this year as you were like in the bubble last year. I just feel like this team as a whole has just kind of underperformed from where they were last year.
Very, very much so agree.
And I did expect them to take a little bit of a step back. I didn't think they were primed for another finals run, but I didn't expect to fall off like this, and that's why I have them where they do.
At the moment, at the break, they're 500, but I think they're heating up. They've won 7 out of last 10, so...
Yeah, they could prove me wrong.
They could prove you wrong, but I would agree that we kind of all saw this like amazing run from Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson, like these guys who maybe were playing over their heads, but they were still, playing very well in the bubble. And Bam Adebayo is having a good year, but we kind of thought this would be a team that would take that next step maybe.
Right.
And they haven't, which is where I am with my Boston Celtics as my pick for most disappointing team.
Don't ever call them your Boston Celtics again.
My words got so choked there. My pick, I apologize to the Boston Celtics. I need some mouthwash right now. And we got Listerine sponsorship.
I'm going to wash your mouth out with soap, my guy.
I'm going to take a lap. Celtics are 19-17. They're to 2 games over 500, but they're 7-12 on the road. They're just not. I mean, they've won 4 in a row coming into the break, but before that, that means that they were under 500 out of the playoffs. Look, I understand Kemba's been hurt, but Jason Tatum is an absolute star. Jaylen Brown's having an absolutely incredible season. There's really no one else around them that's helping. I understand Marcus Smart's been hurt. They don't really have any big men, so I expect them to make a move. I picked them to win the East before the season because I believe Brad Stevens is an incredible coach. He's got to maybe step it up a little bit, or something's got to change because, like the Heat, while they're picking it up at the right time, I expected them to be more in the top upper echelon than where they are. I mean, right now, the Heat are a half game behind the Knicks, who are a half game behind the Celtics. So just the Knicks being in that conversation shows how right we are that Tibbs is doing a great job coaching. Go
right.
Knicks. But it also, what's it say about the Heat and the Celtics if they're in the bundle with the Knicks?
I 100% agree. Just one little random point. You mentioned Jason Tatum. Did you see all these videos of Jason Tatum with one of the picks for Devin's names for What's My Motherfucking Name last week? Matthew Tkachuk.
No, I did not.
Yeah, apparently they were like friends in high school, and they have all these videos of like them like clowning around on what looks like fucking uvu and shit. Like,
word, just some boys from St. Louis just chilling.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy. Sorry, it was just I've been seeing him everywhere. It was just right after we brought him up on the show.
Speak it into existence.
For real. But yeah, the Celtics are nowhere near. I thought they were gonna be at the minimum 4 seed at this point in the season. Like, very, very, very minimum.
Well, that is a great segue into our breakdown of the East because they are the 4 seed.
Are they?
They are the 4th seed at 19-17. But here's the thing. They are the 4th seed, and the Orlando Magic, are the 14th seed. They're only separated by 6 games, which means you have 11 teams in the East that are all jumbled within 6 games. Any team could go on a run and make moves. The bottom, you have the top 3, the Sixers, the Nets, and the Bucks a little bit ahead. They're above, but you got the playoff teams, the teams just outside the playoffs, like the Celtics, Knicks, Heat, Hornets, Raptors, Bulls, and Indiana Pacers, and the Hawks, all separated by 3 games.
So it's really anyone's division.
Anyone's division. It's anyone's conference. We thought the Wizards were left for dead, but they're also still 2.5 games out of the playoffs. The Cavs are nothing. The Cavs have.
Yeah, like what?
Kevin Love doesn't play anymore. Like, they have the Jarrett Allen. They have. I don't even know who's on them, but they're realistically 3 games out of the playoffs.
Yeah, Drummond's not playing anymore because they're looking to move him.
So that's the question. Where do guys like Drummond go? Where does Bradley Beal, does he stay put now that they're winning? Who's going to make moves? We saw Blake Griffin go to the Nets. We saw LaMarcus Aldridge is now on his way out of San Antonio. So we got to talk about
that one shocked me.
We got to talk about all these guys.
Yeah.
Let's start with Blake Griffin because he's on the Nets. Like, that's confirmed. He's going to be number 2.
That's where I expected him to go the whole time. Just the inmates run the asylum over there, and I'm not even trying to say that in a negative way. It's just like the players run the show. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I wanted him to go to the Lakers just so we could call them the Blakers.
No, I wanted him just because it would have, like, what's his name, Donald Sterling, still alive?
Probably.
Well, if he's not, he would have rolled in his grave to see the guy he felt like he fucking like owned and shit go to the team he fucking hated. It would have made me so happy. So I would have loved for Blake to go to the Lakers.
Well, he's reuniting with DeAndre Jordan, so
right.
they're gonna
But I honestly expected him to go to the Nets the whole time just because it's another big name they can add. Him coming in off the bench with those other guys, he adds some size, which adds some defense, even though he's maybe not the best, but just size helps in that whole defensive landscape. And they just seem to be trying to stack as many big names as they can just to try to absolutely dominate.
So is it the chicken or the egg? Are the Nets attracting the big names, or the big names going to the Nets because they're ring chasing? I think Blake's just ring chasing.
Yeah, well, obviously.
100% fine with it. Him and DeAndre both deserve it. Blake's not who he was before all these injuries. He's clearly, I mean, he hasn't dunked. We keep harping on it. He hasn't dunked in over a year. But if he just gets rebounds and, like you said, plays the bare minimum defense, that's fine. That's all they need. You have James Harden on a potential MVP season. You have Kyrie's playing great. Kevin Durant's not even with this team right now, and they're out of their minds on this incredible heater. So
I think, as much as Stephen A. usually annoys me with his takes, but I think he put it the best way for this. For when talking about the Nets, they're never going to be an elite defensive team, but they don't care if they're an elite defensive team. They just need to have enough defense to make that one extra stop that you can't make because they're so good on offense.
Exactly. It's almost like the Chiefs in a sense where the Chiefs' defense wasn't elite, but you knew that if the Chiefs' defense could make a turnover, can cause a turnover,
could get one stop,
it was
matter, over.
Because Mahomes in the offense was too potent. And I see that happening very much with this Heat team. So let's talk. I do want to get into the other free agents before we just talk about whether or not the Nets have already won.
Yeah, man.
So LaMarcus Aldridge,
shocker,
apparently is no longer going to be at San Antonio Spurs. I feel like this is just Popovich saying, hey, man, go chase your ring.
Yeah.
Where does he go?
I don't know. This one's super fresh for me. Obviously, if that is the case where he's saying go chase your ring, obviously you lean more towards the Lakers or even the Nets again if he can take a team friendly deal to go get a ring. Obviously, the big powerhouse teams are the ones I'd be thinking of. Lakers seem like a good option. I could see Clippers maybe. Just someone who's primed and ready and maybe just needs that one last little bit. I think everyone's in play for the Lakers right now, especially with the AD problems.
Especially when you look at Laker Twitter. So I put on Twitter, where does LaMarcus Aldridge go? We tweeted it. 39% of the vote says the Lakers. 24% says Portland.
I could see that one too.
That would be awesome to see him and Dame reunited. McCollum's out, so they're going to use whatever help they can get. I also put the Celtics, so we have 19%, and then 18% of the vote says other, without people really giving many thoughts to other. Ultimately, I think LaMarcus Aldridge, like you said, is going to chase a ring, go to the Lakers. If Anthony Davis has to miss time, Aldridge is the perfect guy to just rebound inside scoring. But the Lakers are also being rumored to take Andre Drummond, who's the next guy on our list. Andre Drummond, incredible rebounder. The Lakers, if they're not going to have Anthony Davis, makes sense.
Yeah. I would probably pick Aldridge over Drummond in that case, just because I feel like Aldridge is a little more complete. But I think you couldn't go wrong either way. I think either one you pick up, it's an improvement to that team.
Agreed.
Especially with AD missing time, and then you just bring AD back, and it's just, okay, here's another toy to play with.
I want to see Andre Drummond go to the Boston Celtics.
I do not. I just don't want anything good to go to the Boston Celtics ever.
I just think it would be a great fit for him.
I'm not saying it'd be a bad fit. I'm not saying it'd be a bad move. I just don't want to see good things for the Boston Celtics ever.
Fair. I don't know why. My brain's let's go Celtics today. Horrible. But I think that would be the ideal fit for him, where you have Kemba, Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown, Tatum can stretch the floor, and he can just do his thing of rim protect and rebound.
Yep.
Next is John Collins, who the Hawks are open to trading. However, the Hawks just fired their coach, Lloyd Pierce or something like that, and now Nate McMillan's their coach. Maybe he stays. I don't really know what's going to happen with John Collins, but I think the Hawks keep him.
Yeah, I have no real opinion on him either way, to be honest with you.
Well, that's fair. He's not, he's a young guy. He's not the most known player in the league. He's a quality scorer, quality rebounder. He's a big guy, so he could probably also fit with the Lakers or fit with, Portland, these teams we've been talking about.
Like I said, pretty much anyone is in play for the Lakers right now. I feel like anyone who can bring just that any type of extra help to LeBron, even if it's not necessarily the role that AD fills, just some way to take off some pressure from LeBron, because LeBron can fill any hole, but right now he has to fill all the holes. You know what I mean?
Like Tiger Woods. That's a golf reference.
You're a bad guy.
Oh, fuck it. He's still in the hospital. Sorry, Tiger. John Collins also, though, he's the kind of guy I think could go to Utah, because Utah has the guards and they have Gobert, but if you can give them an extra big guy to maybe, pose as a stretch four, give him a little spacing,
yeah,
he could help.
100%.
Talking about the East, we want to talk about Bradley Beal. Because he was the big name for weeks. Free Bradley Beal. Get him out of there. Send him on his way. But then the Wizards went on a little bit of a run. They beat the Lakers. So they had a 6-game winning streak.
And he likes Westbrook a lot.
He said Westbrook's the best teammate he's ever had.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's, PR 101, like talk up your teammates while you're with them, or if that's genuine. But right now, like I said, 2.5 games out of the playoffs. Like, the East is wide open. Any of these teams could make moves.
Yeah, and I expected Russell to even out a little bit from where he was in the beginning of the season. So it doesn't surprise me that they've gone on more of a run, especially as he figures out the new system. But I don't know. I still think they're not primed to go on an actual run. And if Beal can get out of there to a more quality team to make an actual run in the playoffs, I think it could be a good time. But at this point, I mean, I've said it a million times, I want to see him go to the Knicks just because that's my personal, obviously my rooting interest. And I think adding a legit scorer to the way that team plays defense would take them to the next level. But
completely agree.
I think if you move Bradley Beal to the Knicks and you can keep Randall and RJ Barrett, I think that team becomes a legitimate contender. Maybe I'm not saying they make a finals run and they win the finals this year, but I'm saying it makes them an upper echelon team, which they haven't been in a very long time.
I know, and it's so cool because, again, where the Knicks are the 5th seed, half a game behind Boston. Like, we could play home playoff games this year. Oh my God, we're going to one. I would love to see Bradley Beal come to the Knicks. Another team I really think could use him, though, and this may or may not happen, probably won't, would be the Denver Nuggets.
Yeah, 100%.
You see Jokic is leading the team at scoring, but he's a big man who can post up and shoot from the outside. Jamal Murray, we know, can score. If you get Bradley Beal, they can run a very, very lethal offense.
Dude, Jamal Murray and Tyler Hero have really had the opposite trajectory since the end of the bubble. Just the two bubble stars. But yeah, Bradley Beal added to that lineup. Him and Jamal Murray, especially on the outside, while Jokic just plugs up a lane. Like, are you kidding?
Yeah, that's a team that I think would win the title.
Oh yeah, that would be fun to watch.
PJ, if you're listening, I don't know if PJ Dozier has any say in the front office of Denver, but make it happen.
Yeah, bro. Like,
the last name on my list of where are they going is Victor Oladipo, because we know he's not staying in Houston. He turned down that offer. The Rockets have lost 13 straight. That's just a dumpster fire, but he's still a star player. He's going to be really good.
I feel like he's the one player that is definitely not going to the fucking Nets because
no, he's not
going. Because of Harden being an asshole on the way out.
Well, he's not. He was involved in that trade.
No, I know. I'm just being a dick.
I don't know if he's gonna get moved again, but I mean, maybe the Rockets grant him a buyout. Probably not, because I think there is trade value there. He's a guy I would be okay with the Knicks picking up.
Yeah.
Because I think he would cost less in terms of, a trade commodity. Like we wouldn't have to give up as much to get Oladipo as we would to get Beal.
Right.
He's a good scorer, maybe not as great of a scorer, but if you can keep him, RJ, Randall, Mitch Robinson, that's a decent start to a team, and I think the Knicks could keep Oladipo long term, which is always fun.
Right. See, that's the thing. It's about, for the Knicks especially, it's about getting the star and getting him on a deal, like a deal where he's there for a few years to entice other people to come, to make them an actual legit contender in the years to come.
I just have a weird feeling that Oladipo is going to end up either on the Spurs, because he just seems like that kind of guy that fits that offense.
Like a pop guy.
He seems like a pop guy. I could see him going to the Clippers, and again, because he seems like a pop guy, but Kawhi is also kind of a pop guy.
Right.
Even though Kawhi and Pop don't really like each other. That's going to be interesting because
sometimes when people are too much alike, they butt heads. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I want to see Oladipo go to a contender.
Yeah.
That's
I'd like it for him.
That's all we have for free agents, but hey, if you follow us on social media, again, tweet us your thoughts of where you want to see players go, what moves you want to see being made. The Knicks are going to have to make some move if we want to jump up. What should we do? The Nets, are they going to make another move, adding anybody else? Feel free to comment below. Let us know.
All right, and so before we wrap up today, let's just take the one phone call we decided to bring up this week.
Wait, hang on. We got other NBA news
Do we?
quick. Real quick.
Sorry. I messed up.
We got to get into the Myers-Leonard thing.
Oh, God.
Myers-Leonard is a backup center for the Miami Heat. Apparently, he's a pretty good gamer. He's playing Call of Duty Warzone on a live Twitch stream.
Yeah, he's a member of FaZe Clan, I think.
He dropped a hard K-word, which isn't something you hear very often. It's an anti-Semitic racial slur for Jewish people. I'm Jewish. I'm not the most deeply offended, mad, gonna come from Myers-Leonard, but what are you thinking, man?
Yeah,
you're literally saying it on a camera with people. The point of it is to have people watching. You know what you're doing.
Yeah, I think Julian Edelman said it best. He came out with a nice little statement on this. I'm paraphrasing because I don't have it in front of me at the moment, but basically he said, look, I don't think you said this out of a hatred for the Jewish race. I don't think you were saying it to try to be anti-Semitic. I think you were just dumb and don't know what you're talking about, and I think that's more dangerous.
Right.
Because you can battle upfront bigotry, but this just kind of letting it slide, this kind of just throwing it out there for no reason is what does the damage, because you are, I forget the exact term he used, but it does the more damage because it's the more unpredictable. It's a thing you can't control.
Because it's usually, and it's also in the way that he's using it is more casual.
Right.
And he's desensitizing it, almost taking away from the meaning of it. And I understand he's not an anti-Semitic person. I'm not saying that Myers-Leonard is a racist, but when you use a racial term like that, yes, it's a racist thing to say, it's a racist thing to do, and it's wrong. And everybody online is soft, nobody would last in Call of Duty, old days and stuff, and I get that. Yes, people get unbelievably racist when playing video games online.
Oh my God.
It's just a weird thing that happens. But also,
I was literally talking to a guy about this at work a few days ago. I was just like, yeah, the reason I don't play online anymore is because I'm sick of 13-year-old white kids calling me the N-word. And it doesn't even affect me in the slightest.
Myers-Leonard has to understand that as a professional athlete, you have to hold yourself to a higher standard, and that's just not okay. That doesn't fly. He has to understand that if he's going to literally be looking into a camera, speaking with the purpose of having people watching him live, he paused. He thought about saying it, and he still said it. So Myers-Leonard's going to be suspended for a week with pay because he's white.
Yeah.
Dude, first of all, Myers is the name of, in Jewish, there's not a whole lot of famous Jewish gangsters, but Myers Lansky is the most famous Jewish, he's the most famous Jewish gangster there is. He ran, the Jewish mafia and started building Vegas. Myers, come on, dude. So if you're Myers Leonard, first thing you got to do is switch your name to Leonard Myers. Just rebrand. Issue a real apology. If you want, that Passover's coming up, you could join my family for a Seder. We'd love to have you on Zoom. But, like, dude, it's Miami. There's, like, 3 markets in the NBA, probably in the country, that have a ton of Jewish people. It's New York, LA, Miami. Just reach out to your community and, like, learn. Learn from this mistake. Take this as a real opportunity and learn from it.
And that was basically Julian Edelman's whole point.
If he was playing for Oklahoma City, it probably wouldn't be a big deal because I don't think there's a ton of Jews in Oklahoma. If it was the Indiana Pacers, I don't think there's a ton of Jews in Indiana. Miami, you have an ample opportunity to make this right. So I'm hoping for the best. It's just not an okay thing to do.
Yeah, and I was telling Eric this off air. It kind of sucks because like literally 3 days before this whole thing went down, I saw a video of like his wife's like whole like social media thing, and she posts these like nice little videos of them like of him like playing games and then going through their daily routine and like him showing her how to shoot, and they seemed like nice people, and then it comes out like this, and it's just like, ugh, I can't like you now. Like,
it's not to say that they're not nice
Yeah.
people. You can be nice and racist.
but it's just like just be better. Like,
I mean, he's got 20 months to get rid of the term.
oh my god.
Because we got to get into that real quick. Before we even get into that, I just want to say, like, we thought Burger King wanted the crown for stupidest fast food social media. Stupidest viral fast food. Because on International Women's Day, Burger King tweeted out, "Women belong in the kitchen." Followed up with a thread about how women, if they want,
I get
if
what
they want, they can be chefs. There's a disproportion of chefs that are 80% male. Look,
I get what they were trying to do, but just the
execution.
Yeah, it was just very flawed, very very flawed.
So we thought that was bad. And then 3 days later, or maybe even the next day, I don't know, Papa John's came out and said, "Hold my beer." Papa
Hold
John was on a national broadcast interview and said that he has been trying for the last 20 months to get the N-word out of his vocabulary. There's a lot to unpackage there. Look, Myers Leonard said it one time, and I'm pretty sure he's learned his lesson. I mean, maybe he didn't, but it sounds like it's probably going to be out of his vocabulary. 20 months is a long time.
Yeah, like I understand him coming out saying like, "Hey, I'm trying to get it out of my vocabulary." Blah 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 blah. It doesn't take 20 months if you're giving an earnest effort, my guy. Like,
oh my god, dude! Like, substance abuse is such a real thing, but there are addicts who get over heroin addiction way faster than 20 months. Like, this dude has to be like.
But the thing that gets me, he says, I've been trying. That means he still hasn't gotten it out of his vocabulary.
I think he just goes home and. Do you think he's just like Lil Wayne? Like, he just says it. It's just like Papa John. Like, you just. He's gotta go somewhere else.
Dude, him and the fucking My Pillow guy just keep digging holes for themselves. Like, I don't fucking get it.
I mean, it was just such a wild. It was a trip. I wake up and I see Burger King trending. Why? Because Burger King's being sexist. That's weird. Okay, that's just a weird thing to do. Oh no, Papa John's is trending. Why? Because Papa John's is addicted to saying the N-word. Okay, that's weird. And then now it's like Myers Leonard is gunning for a position at Papa John's by being racist as well.
See, that's the thing. Like, at least with Burger King, you understood what they were trying to do, but it was just poor execution.
Burger King doubled down on this so hard because KFC came out and responded to Burger King's tweet by saying, like, the best time to delete this is right now. And Burger King came back to KFC and said, "Why would we delete this tweet that brings light to such an issue and blah, blah, blah." It's Burger King, you just said something terrible, so stop it.
Right. But, like, again, you could see why they thought, like, what they were trying to do. Maybe not why they thought it was a good idea, but what they were trying to do. There is literally zero PR, literally zero. Nothing good was coming out of Papa John coming out and saying what he said.
Papa John's got to fire everyone on his PR staff who thought it was a good idea for him to do that interview and say that. Like,
right.
Everyone around him is just as much of an idiot for being like, maybe the public will think it's good that he's been trying for over a year and a half to stop saying the N-word.
Like, my guy, come on. Oh my god.
How
That one just blows my mind.
I can't get over it. Like how addicted to how racist is he? Do you think there's definitely like clan members out there who are like, wow, we gotta step our game up, dude. Papa John says the N-word more than we do. Like
I need to start eating more pizza.
we're not making light of this, but like, holy shit.
Yeah, it's just like, bro, like you're an adult. You should know better than that. Whether or not you agree, whether or not you're conservative, liberal, blah 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 blah, that doesn't matter. You're an adult. You should be able to take the lay of the land, and like be able to read the tea leaves around you and all whatever cliche you want to use, and just understand that whether or not it's true, whether or not you believe it, whether or not blah 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 blah. There is absolutely zero good coming from you saying that.
Words have meaning, and there's no place for that word in this society, this world we live in, and the fact that it's been 20 months and he still can't stop saying it. Like, it's got to be so casual for him. It's got to be like he just drops something, just throws it out there. I just can't picture what closed doors are like for Papa John's.
Yeah.
You think Papa John's is going to run for president?
Let's hope not. Let's very much hope not.
Shitty businessman, racist, says dumb things all the time, has weird skin. He's going to be president one day, isn't he?
You know who I was just thinking about, actually, before the show, now that you brought me on this topic, who's definitely going to run for president one day just because that's the type of person they are? Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Well, yeah, he already did. We already talked. Like, that was the thing.
No, but people were talking about it. But I think he's legitimately going to run and win. Because if you see him, he works his ass off to be the best at something. And then once he hits that, he moves on to the next thing while still being the best at that previous thing. He did that with wrestling. Then he did that with acting. Now he's doing that with owning, like, the NFL and the CFL, or announcing that they're going to do a merger together to kind of save the CFL and to bring the XFL into more light. Not like a merger, but like a cross, some type of deal. They haven't come out in super detail yet.
A mega league.
Yeah, so I think once he gets that up and going and that becomes great, he's going to move on to the next thing. And I think just eventually he's going to, the only thing left for him to grow into is to run the country. I really think that's going to be a thing.
Nah.
Sorry, you brought up the president thing, and I was literally thinking about this right before you guys came over today.
No, I was just trying to talk about the Papa John situation, but
all right, well, at least we didn't end it on such a somber note. But I think that's all for us.
That's all I got for now. The NBA comes back. There's gonna be some March Madness coming up soon. Don't forget to join our bracket pool. Side note for March Madness, Duke has a positive COVID test, so it looks like they're actually done.
Oh, shit.
So, no Duke this year. Well.
But they've been struggling a little bit this year anyway, so.
Oh, well. North Carolina's back. They trounced Notre Dame, and I can't pretend I really care about college basketball, so.
Yeah.
All you need to know is.
It's happening.
It's happening. We're doing it.
All right, guys. Well, I'm Chris Gray. That is Eric Mincer. And we'll see you.
Don't say the N-word.
Welcome to the basement.